Welcome to episode 4 of Race Control. Today we'll be going through the basics of mechanical setup and how you can make the car easier to drive as well as faster. We'll start with acceleration, then braking and finish on steering. So first up is acceleration, and we'll be covering top speed here as well. You can make your car faster over a straight line with changes to the aerodynamics, gear ratios and tyre pressures, as well as the wastegate on turbo cars. Lower your aerodynamics and the car will be less affected by drag, but you'll also have less grip through fast corners. Lengthen your gear ratios and your engine will be able to reach higher speeds, but the car will be sluggish when accelerating. Raise your tyre pressures and you'll reduce friction with the road surface, but the car will appear to skate around corners. Finally, you have the wastegate on turbocharged cars. You can increase this to get more power from the turbo, but your engine will be warm faster and it will become more difficult to handle. You will have to find a suitable compromise between these elements, as different tracks place different demands on the car. Now let's talk about braking. Getting your braking right is often overlooked by drivers with less experience, so tuning this can sometimes give you an upper hand without much effort. There are two main elements to your braking, the brake balance and the suspension. Setting your brake balance further to the rear increases the car's capability of turning in, but causes instability, especially in corners that require the use of weight transfer. Setting it to the front negates this risk, but turning in while braking will become more difficult. We won't be going into the depths of suspension setup today as it is very complicated, but as a general rule you can stiffen your front suspension to reduce the risk of locking the tyres, at the expense of some mid-corner understeer. The third element of driving that you'll need to tune is the steering. When turning, the car can do one of three things. It can understeer, where the front of the car washes out and won't turn. It can oversteer, where the rear of the car will come around. And it can remain neutral, which means you're driving within the car's limits. For general racing, you want the car to be as balanced as possible, with a slight bias toward understeer when accelerating out of a corner if you're driving a rear-wheel drive car. This is very much a question of personal taste however, so put some laps in with the car to get a feel of it before deciding on what you'd like to change. Sway bars, anti-roll bars or whatever else you want to call them, link the left and right suspension systems together, keeping them level with each other with a certain amount of force. This force is what you change in the setup, and it affects how much grip the car has on the entry and exit of mid to high speed corners. There are two extremes of sway bar setup, and you need to find a good middle ground that works for you. The first extreme is a soft front sway bar and a stiff rear sway bar. This will lift the inside rear wheels upon braking and lifting, which will produce oversteer. This is common in front wheel drive cars as it counteracts some of the understeer on exit and makes the car more nimble. The second extreme is to go the other way round, with a stiff front sway bar and a soft rear sway bar. This lifts the inside front tyre upon acceleration and produces understeer. This can help when a car is having trouble putting its power down, but be careful going too extreme, as the force of the wheel bouncing off the road can cause unpredictable behaviour. Tuning the differential is also useful when you're having trouble either turning in or powering out of a corner. For example, setting both your acceleration lock and your deceleration lock to 0 will result in an open differential. Open differentials make power much easier to handle, but often come with the caveat of lift oversteer. Lift oversteer is when the car turns too much into the corner and the rear wheels break loose. A small amount of lift oversteer is beneficial as it allows faster corner entry, but too much can cause a car to wear its rear tyres excessively or even spin out. Going to the opposite extreme results in the equivalent of a welded differential, just without the welding. It will make the car more eager to turn under acceleration, which can transition to oversteer. It will also make the car understeer when decelerating into a turn, and the car may appear to hop at low speeds. Finally, there's the steering ratio. This controls how much the car's wheels will turn in relation to the steering wheel, and should be adjusted to your personal preference. A faster ratio will allow you to change direction faster, but the lack of precision can cause fatigue. Going for a slower ratio will allow for a more lethargic driving style, but oversteer will be difficult to correct and chicanes will be tedious. That's all for Race Control episode 4. In next week's episode we'll learn how to drive effectively in the rain, as well as how you can put today's tips into practice in adverse conditions. Thank you for watching.